This TV is not on. No.
No, they never come. They never put.
Okay, never come.
They never put up. If you come, then you go show.
Okay.
This one are in-house. I don't wait till they go outside.
Okay. This is fine, enter.
Yeah, that's
Can't I put it? Can't I put it here?
it's okay. It's okay. You need it POV.
And I just ask if I put down for here.
It's okay.
If you can jump from.
If you jump, enter this
Okay. We're ready. We're ready.
So,
Ready.
they don't carry this remote.
See I'm now. This thing is not talking now. It's doing home. It's a home sound. If it's on, like I'm hearing home sound, but
Let me tell them first.
I'm not hearing 3, 2, 1 action. Thank you, sir. Welcome to Signature TV News. I'm Charles Pius. In the headlines, federal government suspends 2 correctional service officers over Bobrisky's controversial detention. Senate passes bill on establishment of Southwest Development Commission. Biden announces $8 billion in military aid. European Union calls for a ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon at UN General Assembly. In a moment. The federal government has suspended 2 officers at the Kirikiri Medium Custodial Center in Lagos. The officers were suspended following a voice note shared by Martins Ose, popularly known as Very Dark Man, in which Idris Okaneye, known as Bobrisky, claimed that after his conviction and sentencing for abuse of the Naira notes in April, his godfather, in collaboration with the Comptroller General of the Nigerian Correctional Service, arranged for him to serve 6 months sentence in a private apartment. Those suspended, according to a memo on Thursday, which was signed by the Secretary of the Civil Defense, Correctional, Fire, and Immigration Services Boards, Jafaru Ahmed, are the Deputy Controller of Corrections in charge of Medium Security Custodial Center, Kirikiri, Lagos State, Michael Anugwa, and Deputy Controller of Corrections in charge of MSCC, Kirikiri, Lagos, Sikiru Adekunle. According to the memo, an officer serving at the MCC or MSCC in Afipo, Ebonyi State, Obule Obina, was suspended for accompanying an inmate out of the facility. Another senior officer of the service serving at the Kuje MSCC, Eloafonsi Ikechukwu, was equally suspended for allegedly receiving money on behalf of an inmate. Ahmed however, said their suspension was to allow proper investigation into the allegations against them. And similarly, the House of Representatives has called for an investigation into the controversy surrounding the detention of Idris Okune, popularly known as Bobrisky. Honorable Patrick Umar, representing Ikotekmene Esen Udim Obot Akara Federal Constituency, on Thursday moved a motion on the need to investigate these disturbing allegations of corruption against the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission and the Nigerian Correctional Service in order to save Nigeria from public ridicule. Supporting the motion, Honorable Lumide Oshoba, representing Abeokuta North Obafemi Owode Odede Federal Constituency, proposed an amendment that the House Committee on Financial Crimes and that of reformatory institutions should carry out the investigation. The motion was adopted as amended and refers to the House Committee on Financial Crimes as well as that on reformatory institutions for further actions. The Senate on Thursday passed a bill seeking to establish the Southwest Development Commission following the adoption of the report of the Committee on Special Duties presented by the chairman Kaka Shehu from Borno State. Shehu, in his presentation, said the bill was designed to drive the social economic development of Southwest through the commission like other development-driven commissions established in zonal basis. The commission, he said, will receive funds from the Federation account, donations from development partners, among others, to address infrastructural deficits and tackle the ecological problems in the region. Deputy President of Senate Barao Jibrin, who presided over plenary after the passage, commended the committee for processing the bill, which he said would address the infrastructural and ecological challenges in the Southwest. He said President Bola Tinubu has assented to similar bills passed for zonal development-driven interventions and will surely assent to the latest one. Similarly, the upper legislative body also approved the appointment of Mrs. Olukemi Victoria Iyontan as one of the commissioners in the National Population Commission (NPC) representing Ondo State. The confirmation of the appointments followed the consideration of recommendation made to that effect by its Committee on National Identity Card and National Population, Abdul Ningi. Senators approved the recommendation of the committee when it was put to voice vote by Deputy President of the Senate, Senator Barral Jibril. Mrs. Iyontan will now join other commissioners and the chairman of NPC to work towards giving the country acceptable census. In a similar development, the Senate has passed for second reading a bill to establish the Nigeria Mines Ranger Service (NMRS) to combat illegal and artisanal mining in Nigeria. This followed presentation of the general principles of the bill by the sponsor, Senator Mohammed Onao, at plenary on Thursday. Presenting the general principles of the bill, Onao said the proposed NMRS, when established, would be saddled with the responsibilities of safeguarding mining operations, enforcement of mining environmental and safety regulations. He said the agency would also promote sustainable mining practices in Nigeria. According to him, the proposed Mine Rangers Service as specialized security outfit would, among others, curb illegal mining across the country, rescue trapped miners, provide emergency medical care, investigate mining accidents, and enforce compliance with mining regulations. Lawmakers who contributed to debates for the bill described the proposed Mine Ranger Service as a veritable outfit to protect and securing the mining sites across the country. Senator Oji Uzokalu said the proposed security outfit would help stop the yearly loss of $18.9 billion by Nigeria to illegal mining. The Deputy President of the Senate, Barral Jibril, who presided over plenary, described the bill as apt, giving the needed protection, regulations, and enforcement in the mining sector. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to direct the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, (NNPCL), to allow independent marketers lift fuel from Dangote Refinery. The resolution followed the adoption of a motion of urgent public importance by a member representing Yenagoa, Kolokuma, Opokuma Federal Constituency of Bayelsa, Oboku Ofoji, during plenary on Thursday. The lawmaker said that allowing the NNPCL and major marketers to lift fuel from the refinery to the exclusion of independent marketers was not good enough. He said that representatives of independent marketers under the aegis of Ipman had expressed fear that members may be forced to resort to fuel imports to sustain their businesses. According to him, Nigeria is now driving towards energy self-sufficiency, cost savings, and foreign exchange savings, meeting the increasing demand for fuel and attracting foreign capital investments. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has reappointed Bitrus Chinoko as the Director General of the Center for Management Development (CMD). The Minister for Budget and Economic Planning, Senator Abubakar Bagudu, made this known in a letter dated August 28th. The appointment is for a final term of 4 years. Former President Muhammadu Buhari confirmed the appointment of Chinoko as substantive DG of CMD in April of 2020. The Southeast Zonal Coordinator of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, (NAFDAC), Martins Iluyomade, has urged business owners and medical practitioners to assist the agency in curbing the circulation of substandard drugs in the region. Oluyomade made the call during the agency's sensitization campaign on substandard and falsified medicines in Enugu. He emphasized the importance of raising awareness against fake and substandard products given Nigeria's current economic climate. The NAFDAC boss, while highlighting the dangers of fake products to the body, urged the public to remain cautious while or about the products they consume. Some participants at the events emphasized the importance of the awareness campaign. Highlights of the sensitization was a drama presentation on the negative impact of fake products. Similarly, the coordinator of NAFDAC in Plateau, Mohammed Moazu, urged members of the public to ensure that they purchase medicines from certified pharmacists and patent medicine vendors and report any medicine purchased without the NAFDAC certification. Moazu also called on members of the public to ensure that the medicines purchased had the NAFDAC registration number, dates of manufacture, and expiration, manufacturer's name, full location address, and batch number. The National Council of Women's Societies, NCWS, has begun nationwide sensitization to create awareness on birth registration to enable Nigeria to achieve 2030 Sustainable Development Goal (SDGs) target. Acting National President of the NCWS, Jaradine Itaituk, who spoke at the inauguration of the exercise on Thursday in Abuja, said the initiative would encourage birth certificates or birth registration, especially at the community level. She said the organization would leverage on its structure to mobilize people, especially at the community, and had to reach areas to register births of their babies. The campaign is aimed at raising awareness about the significance of birth registration, identify the challenges hindering it, propose solutions, and strengthen partnerships with relevant stakeholders. Itaetuk described Nigeria's birth registration rates as low, with millions of unregistered children, which she said has exposed them to exploitation, child labor, and trafficking. According to her, women leaders understand the importance of birth registration in securing a child's identity, citizenship, and future opportunities. Assistant Director of Civil Registration Department at the National Population Commission, Helen Ogohi, said the commission has set up over 4,000 registration centers across the country. The Federal Road Safety Corps, FRSC, has unveiled a robust strategy to reduce road traffic crashes during the Ember months and beyond across the country. Speaking at the maiden town hall meeting organized by the FCT Sector Command on Thursday in Abuja, the Corps Marshal Malam Shehu Mohammed emphasized the need for collective efforts to ensure road safety. Mohammed, who was represented by the Assistant Corps Marshal in charge of operations, Hyginus Omeje, said that the essence of the gathering was to address a pressing issue that affected everyone across the nation. He said that the responsibility for creating safer roads lied with every individual, noting that strategic partnership was also needed to implement these efforts of the Corps. He said that the partnership was necessary to ensure each and every individual takes responsibility for their action on the road. The Nigerian Union of Local Government Employees, NOLGE, has urged the implementation committee set up by the federal government to hasten the process of submission of the framework for the implementation of the local government autonomy. The president of NOLGE, Ambali Olatunji, said this in a communique issued at the end of its National Executive Council meeting on Thursday in Abuja. Olatunji said that it was imperative that the committee hastens the process to ensure the smooth running of the local government administration. The union leader appealed to the federal government to immediately take steps towards ensuring the conduct of free, fair, and credible elections across all local governments in Nigeria. The union also called for urgent review of 2014 local government scheme of service to strengthen the functionality and equity for local government workers. Still to come, court adjourns EEDC 5 billion naira suit against Southeast electricity consumers till November 27th. Wike threatens to pay striking teachers with area council's IGR. Do stay with us. A federal high court sitting in Enugu on Thursday adjourned the 5 billion naira suit by the Enugu Electricity Distribution Company EEDC against the Southeast Electricity Consumers Association SECA to November 27th. EEDC had dragged SECA to court for allegedly interfering in its activities in the Southeast by inciting electricity consumers against payments of outrageous and estimated billing system and other anti-people activities of the company in the region. The defendants in the case were the leaders of SECA and the National Electricity Regulatory Commission (NERC). When the matter was called up for a hearing, the counsel to EEDC, Okudili Abu, pleaded with the court for more time to respond to some papers served on his clients by the defendants. Counsel to the defendants, Ejike Zenwa, SAN, who said that he was ready for the case, conceded to the plea for adjournment to allow the plaintiff file his reply. After listening to both sides, the presiding judge, Justice M.G. Umar, adjourned the case to November 27th for hearing. Addressing newsmen on why his clients chose to sue SECA, Abu said that the EEDC wanted the courts to determine whether any other organization had the right to perform regulatory functions outside NERC. Also speaking to newsmen, the chairman of SECA, Reverend Okechukwu Obioha, said that the EEDC took the group to court for enlightening other electricity consumers on their rights and obligations concerning electricity supply. A high court sitting in Ilorin on Thursday sentenced 5 men charged with a bank robbery incident to death by hanging. The court convicted Ayode Akinibosun, Aziz Salahuddin, Niyi Ogundiran, Ibikunle Ogunlaya, and Adiola Abraham after they were found guilty of conspiracy, armed robbery, culpable homicide, and illegal possession of firearms. Delivering the judgment, Justice Halima Salima held that the 5 defendants caused the deaths of people, including a police officer and civilians, during the armed robbery in Offa on April 2018, which is punishable by death. Earlier, the lead prosecuting counsel and senior advocate of Nigeria, Rotimi Jacob, said that the prosecution was able to prove its case beyond reasonable doubt that the judgment was done accordingly. Jacob said that the 6 years spent on the case was worth it, as evidence clearly showed that the convicts were involved in the robbery and killings. The lead defense counsel, Nathaniel Emeribe, represented by Abdullahi Jimba, said that the judgment was not surprising considering the evidence presented in court saying it had been envisaged that it would end that way. The prime suspect, a policeman, Michael Atiku, died in police custody during the trial, while the remaining 5 pleaded for mercy but were convicted. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has revealed how the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yaya Adoza Bello, allegedly used the state's money to acquire choice properties in Dubai and Abuja. The EFCC slammed first 16-count charge against the former Kogi State governor at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory in Abuja, along with 2 others. In the charge marked CR 7781-2024, Bello, Omar, Shuaibu, Oricha, and Abdul Salami Hudu are accused of spending over 110 billion naira of public funds to acquire several properties in Abuja and in Dubai. The charge filed on September 25th by the Anti-Graft Agency's lawyer, Kemi Pinheiro, senior advocate of Nigeria, accused Bello and co-defendants of criminal breach of trust, an offense punishable under Section 312 of the Penal Code Laws of Northern Nigeria, 1963. However, no date has been fixed for arraignment of the former governor in the first charges. To be recalled, the last 5 months attempted 4 times to put Bello in to answer the 80.2 billion naira alleged fraud charges against him, to no avail following his persistent refusal to appear. Meanwhile, Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State on Thursday in Ibadan charged Nigeria's independence. The walk is one of the activities lined up to celebrate the country's 64th Independence Day. Makinde, who was represented at the event by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Olanike Adeyemo, urged Nigerians to make efforts within their capacity towards the country's growth. He further charged Nigerians to continue praying for Nigeria and seek the good of the country in spite of ongoing challenges. Makinde expressed optimism that Nigeria would get better, urging Nigerians to pray for divine wisdom and guidance for their leaders in taking the right decisions which would make the country great. A collection of civil society organizations, CSOs, and accredited observers have called for the establishment of Electoral Offences Commission and audits of voters' register. The CSOs who made this call at the presentation of Citizens' Memorandum for Reform of Electoral Legal Framework in Abuja said the commission is, if established, would address electoral offences that have characterized the nation's voting process. Executive Director of Elector, Ibijoke Faborode, who spoke on behalf of his colleagues, said the aim was to reposition the electoral legal framework against the backdrop of recent landmark judicial decisions. Executive Director of Yaga Africa, Samson Itodo, said the reform was key to accountability and tackling impunity, saying the fact that people are not going to jail as a result of a vote buying is troubling. He advised the National Assembly to do a review of sanctions for bad behavior, insisting that Nigerians and voters need to understand the implications of selling their votes, which he said would make them lose the power to hold politicians accountable. The Citizens' Memorandum contains 37 recommendations under 15 objectives and covering 15 priority areas which aimed at achieving more credible, transparent, and accountable electoral process. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has threatened to use 10% internally generated revenue due to the 6 area councils of FCT to settle striking teachers' entitlements. Wike said this while responding to journalists on the FCT administration's intervention on the impasse between the primary school teachers and the 6 area councils of the FCT. The FCT wing of the Nigerian Union of Teachers (NUT) on September 18 resumed industrial action over unresolved welfare issues between it and the 6 area councils of the territory. The minister said he had invited the chairman of the area councils and the NUT leaders to find a way out. Some of the unresolved issues are non-payment of 60% of the 25 months old minimum wage arrears and the non-implementation and payment of 25% and 35% salary increase. Others are non-implementation and payment of 40% peculiar allowance and non-payment of the 35,000 naira wage award arrears and non-implementation of the template on outstanding entitlements of teachers as agreed in 2022. The union said that the FCT minister had earlier intervened and promised to pay 40% of the outstanding 25 months minimum wage arrears. As part of the resolution for suspending the strike in January 2024, the 6 area councils were expected to pay the remaining 60% of the minimum wage arrears. The Executive Secretary of the National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children's Education says no fewer than 30 million Almajiri and 20 million out-of-school children are roaming about and in need of attention. Dr. Mohammed Idris disclosed this on Thursday at the inauguration of an 8-man committee to reform the Almajiri education in Abuja. Idris said that the children needed a sense of belonging and direction and tasked the committee to bring the various Almajiri schools or groups under one umbrella in such a way that responsible scholars would emerge among them. He also tasked the committee to unify all Almajiri schools associations in the country to streamline interaction and foster effective collaboration. Idris assured that 60% of the Almajiri children would be integrated into the Sangaya education system before the end of the administration. Meanwhile, about 11 persons comprising of men, women, and children have died of fresh cholera outbreak in Ndibokete village, Eza, in Yimago, in Izi local government area of Ebonyi State. The State Commissioner for Health, Dr. Moses Ekuma, who confirmed this in a statement made available to newsmen on Thursday in Abakaliki, said the outbreak, reported on September 23rd, had claimed the life of a nursing mother leaving behind her 9-month-old baby. The commissioner said that about 20 other affected persons were responding to treatment in the hospital. He commended Governor Francis Nwifuru for approving fund for the procurement of medical commodities to tackle the outbreak. Ekuma listed treatment centers in the area to include Iziogo Health Center, Sudan Mission, Onuim, and Ndibokote Village, and advised the people to take precautionary measures to prevent the spread of the disease. Delta government says it will build roads and bridges to link every community with the state capital as part of the efforts to develop the state. The Commissioner for Works, Rural and Riverine Roads, Charles Anyago, said this at the flag-off of the construction of 2.7 kilometers Isele Azagba Otulu Road in Anyocha North local government. Anyago said the Governor, Sheriff Oborevori, was determined to develop all parts of the state in line with his administration's vision for the state. The commissioner also disclosed that the Oborevori-led administration was mobilizing contractors to ensure they work with the necessary speed to avoid price fluctuations. Anyago said the contractor had been given 30% of the contract sum, adding that he was expected to deliver the project within 12 months. The Jigawa state government has announced plans to establish compressed natural gas (CNG) conversion centers in the 27 local government areas of the state. The state governor Umar Namadi, who announced this at the inauguration of a petrol filling station in Dutse, said the CNG centers would be established in partnership with a private company. Namadi said the establishment of the CNG stations would reduce the fuel cost by 60% and provide a significant relief for residents of the state. He said the investment initiative aligned with his administration's 12-point agenda aimed at job creation and economic development. The governor urged the company to explore the Jigawa Invest platform for more insights on the policies of the state government, which he said is committed to ensuring that the right things are done for the people. Managing Director of the company, Ibrahim Yusuf, said the organization is interested in boosting investment in the state and assured that the company would train 100 youth as technicians in each of the 27 local government areas of the state. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation has pledged $600,000 support for the victims of the devastating flood in Borno State and other health sector initiatives. The Vice President Kashim Shettima announced the donation when he held a meeting with the officials of the foundation led by the President of Global Development Program, Dr. Christopher Elias, on the sidelines of the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York. The foundation also pledged an additional $5 million in grant for Lagos Business School and partners to develop the agricultural economics of industrial cassava. Shettima reaffirmed the commitment of the Nigerian government to place health, nutrition, and agricultural development at the forefront of the nation's national agenda, and the government's dedications to integrity and effective leadership in tackling those issues. The Vice President pointed out that there was an urgency in securing locations for maize production under the Telemaize program and promised swift action on import permits to certified seeds. Earlier, Elias said that the foundation was deeply worried about the severe flooding in Borno State and committed to supporting Nigeria in times of crisis. The federal government has approved the increase of core members' monthly allowance from 33,000 naira to 77,000 naira with effect from July 2024. NYSC's Acting Director of Information and Public Relations, Caroline Embu, who revealed this in a statement, said the increase is in line with the enactment of the National Minimum Wage Amendment Act of 2024. This, she said, is contained in a letter from the National Salaries, Incomes and Wages Commission dated September 25th and signed by the chairman, Mr. Ebonta. Embu said that the NYSC Director General was thankful to the federal government for the gesture, which he described as timely. She added that he was optimistic that it would not only bring much needed succor to the core members, but also boost their morale and motivate them to do more in their service to the nation. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) says plans are ongoing to pay deposits of the defunct Heritage Bank, whose deposits exceed 5 million naira. The managing director of NDIC, Bello Hassan, disclosed this at the 2024 workshop for Financial Correspondents Association of Nigeria (FICAN) in Lagos on Thursday. Hassan said the corporation was working to ensure that the depositors who had above 5 million naira with the bank got paid through the liquidation dividends. On payment of insured deposits to depositors of the defunct bank, he said the corporation had paid substantially all insured depositors. He said that the only group of insured depositors yet to be paid are those with no alternate account and have not come forward to provide the alternate account through which they can be paid. Hassan assured that the corporation will continue to do all within its mandate to ensure stability in the financial system, saying that the confidence was key in maintaining stability in the financial system. The NDIC had in an editorial listed the assets of the defunct bank nationwide for sale, including vehicles, office equipment, and machinery in 62 locations across the country. The Nigerian Deposit Insurance Corporation (NDIC) has advised banks to comply with the regulatory requirements, especially on bank verification number (BVN). According to NDIC, the aim is to ensure prompt payment of insured deposits to depositors in the event of bank closure. The controller, Enugu Zonal Office of the NDIC, Pamela Roberts, said this at the 2024 workshop organized for Financial Correspondents Association of Nigeria in Lagos. She said the development was one factor that had delayed the payment of insured deposits to depositors of defunct banks by NDIC. Roberts, while presenting a lecture titled Effective Bank Closure, the NDIC's Experience and Current Innovations, urged banks to properly document information of depositors' banks. She described a failing bank as one that had difficulty in meeting obligations of its depositors and other creditors, as well as one that persistently suffers liquidity deficiency. The controller listed some challenges of the corporation in bank closing to include unfriendly bank staff, aggrieved hostile depositors and creditors, volume of work, and inadequate resources. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says it has improved additional $20,000 each to eligible bureau de change at the exchange rate of 1,590 naira to further boost foreign exchange liquidity. CBN's Acting Director, Trade and Exchange Department, Dr. William Kanaya, said in a statement in Abuja that the BDCs are allowed to sell to eligible end users at a margin of not more than 1% above the purchase from the CBN. Kanaya advised eligible BDCs interested in the transaction to make the Naira payment the CBN deposit account numbers within them. He said that all payments and confirmation and necessary documentation for disbursements are to be submitted at the appropriate CBN branches in Abuja, Oka, Kano, and Lagos. Still to come, Russia opposed detention of American Joseph Tata for assaulting police officer. Missiles intercepted in northeastern Israel near Lebanon border. These and more after the break. To stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Global News on Signature Television. U.S. President Joe Biden announced more than $8 billion in military assistance for Ukraine on Thursday to help Kyiv repel Russian invaders, using a visit by President Vladimir Zelensky to make a major commitment. The aid includes the first shipment of a precision-guided glide bomb called the Joint Standoff Weapon, with a range of up to 81 miles. The medium-range missiles give Ukraine a major upgrades to the weapons it is using to strike Russian forces, allowing the Ukrainians to do it at safer distance. He said the U.S. would continue to help Ukraine strengthen its position on the battlefield, and that he had directed the Pentagon to allocate all remaining security funding by the end of his term in January. No dollar dey pocket.
This guy never come.
Who? You should do there.
No, 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 no.
This Russia-Ukraine war is not, it's not going to go away anytime soon. I mean, there are people. America is still giving them so much money, giving them so much weapons. Russia is facing China and Iran, to give them weapons, So it does look like we are fighting a war, and we don't even know about it. It's crazy. Zelensky thanked Biden for his support and said it was important to secure Ukraine's future in the European Union and the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. By the way, how do you rate my news reading? Good, fair, bad, poor? Let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear. It's a Friday, the end of a work week. So I just want to hear, how do you rate my news reading? Just there, one of those things, good enough. Tell me how to improve. I'd like to know, I'd like to hear. So let me know, let me know, let me know how my news reading is. Let me know, let me know. Let me know how my news reading is. Zelensky has long sought NATO membership, but the Allies have stopped short of taking that step. A London based nuclear analyst at the Henry Jackson Society think tank, Behram Gessi, says the timing of the Putin's nuclear warning is linked with Ukraine's lobbying of the West over long range missiles and the fact that President Volodymyr Zelensky is making his case to U.S. President Joe Biden this week. Putin said on Wednesday that Russia could use nuclear weapons if it was struck with conventional missiles, and that Moscow would consider any assault on it supported by nuclear power to be a joint attack. Let me know how my news reading is so far. I want to find out in the comment section. This is the end of the week, Friday, so I'll just use it to gauge my reading all through the week for those who have joined all through the week. So let me know. And maybe I could sing it to you. Let me know how my news reading is. Let me know how my news reading is. Let me know. Let me know. Let me know how my news reading is. Let me know how my news reading is. The changes, which Putin's spokesman said on Thursday, were meant as a signal to Western countries that there would be serious consequences if they participated in attacks on Russia. Russia's President Vladimir Putin on Thursday said it will continue to develop its own liquefied natural gas (LNG) technologies and will boost the infrastructure of the Northern Sea routes. Putin, while speaking at the Russian Energy Week forum in Moscow, said that the so-called friendly countries account for 90% of Russia's energy exports. A Russian court on Thursday denied an appeal from U.S. citizens Joseph Tata against the arrest for assaulting a police officer in Moscow. Tata was first detained in August and jailed for 15 days for petty hooliganism after he was alleged to have abused staff at a Moscow hotel, something he denied. Local news agency reports that Tata had subsequently assaulted a police officer, leading to a fresh criminal case being opened against him. The charge is punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Tata is one of the at least 10 Americans currently behind bars in Russia. And Russian President Vladimir Putin hosted his Equatorial Guinea counterpart Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo for talks in Moscow on Thursday. The presidents met in the Kremlin after visiting the Russian Energy Week events, the annual Moscow Energy Conference attended by international oil and gas executives. Russia and the Equatorial Guinea are both members of the Organization of Gas Producers, Gas Exporting Countries Forum, GECF, and the OPEC Plus group. Meanwhile, the president of the European Council, Charles Michel, said on Thursday that allowing conflict to increase further between Israel and Lebanon would be irresponsible. Speaking at the United Nations General Assembly, Michel said the European Union called for a ceasefire in both Gaza and Lebanon. He also reiterated bloc's support for Ukraine in its war with Russia and condemned the continuing civil war in Sudan. Meanwhile, Israeli tanks were being transported across northern Israel on Thursday as a police spokesperson said security forces were at high alert in the area to aid civilians in areas affected by strikes from Lebanon-based Hezbollah. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said on Thursday he had not responded to a U.S. and French proposal for a ceasefire in Lebanon, but that he had instructed the military to keep fighting at full power for the moment. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Israel Katz rejected a proposal for a 21-day halt in fighting, which has killed hundreds in Lebanon and raised fears of a ground invasion. On Wednesday, Israel's military chief Herzi Halevi told troops that airstrikes in Lebanon would continue in order to destroy Hezbollah infrastructure and to prepare the way for a possible ground operation by Israeli forces. Similarly, Israeli forces intercepted several missiles over Kiryat Shmona in the country's northeast on Thursday as the government rejected a U.S.-backed Lebanon ceasefire proposal. Israel has made the priority of securing its northern border and allowing the return there of some 70,000 residents displaced by near daily exchanges of fire, which Lebanon-based Hezbollah initiated a year ago in solidarity with the Palestinian group Hamas in Gaza. Israeli airstrikes sharply intensified since Monday, when more than 550 people were killed in Lebanon's deadliest day since the end of a 1975-1990 civil war. Peace and prosperity are the central themes of the United Nations World Tourism Day, celebrated annually on September 27th, a senior UN official said on Thursday. After referencing many conflicts around the world, Zurab Polokashvili, Secretary General of the UN World Tourism Organization, said that what unites the global tourist family is its shared humanity. He emphasized that tourism is the most humane sector where every journey leads to a connection. Inaugurated by the UN in 1980, World Tourism Day aims to raise awareness of the positive role tourism can play in fostering understanding and peace among different cultures. This year's official celebrations will take place in Tbilisi, Georgia's capital, on Friday, featuring a series of discussions. The discussions include topics such as tourism as a catalyst for sustainable peace, bridges through tourism, and tourism as a driver of global peace. Meanwhile, cultural shows, educational programs, and workshops promoting tourism will be held around the world. And elsewhere, South Korean lawmakers on Thursday passed a bill that criminalizes possessing or watching sexually explicit deepfake images and videos, with penalties set to include prison terms and fines. There has been an outcry in South Korea over Telegram group chats where sexually explicit and illegal deepfakes were created and widely shared, prompting calls for tougher punishments. Currently, making sexually explicit deepfakes with the intention of distributing them is punishable by 5 years in prison or a fine of 50 million won under the Sexual Violence Prevention and Victims Protection Act. According to the bill, anyone purchasing, saving, or watching such materials could face up to 3 years in jail or be fined up to 30 million won. When the new law takes effect, the maximum sentence for such crimes will also increase to 7 years, regardless of the intentions. Hundreds protested in Madrid on Thursday in an effort to force an agreement between the government and the business sector over a reduction in working hours. Protesters gathered in front of the CEOE building, Spain's main employers association, demanding a reduction in the working hours. Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's socialists are seeking to persuade businesses to buy into a plan to reduce the work week or the working week to 2.5 hours from 40 hours that they say will boost productivity. To secure the backing of employers, the government has offered a hiring bonus for small businesses with less than 10 employees to offset the reduction in working hours while maintaining the same level of service, according to a source involved in the negotiations. The offer calculates the working week on an annual basis so workers in sectors where it is difficult to adapt shifts, such as hospitality, can accrue hours that can later be compensated for in the form of holidays. Spaniards work more hours than most Europeans. According to Eurostat, the average working week in Spain was 36.4 hours in 2023 compared to the European Union average of 36.1 hours. And that's the news this hour. Many thanks for joining us. In another 3 minutes, we're up with the morning show. Join us then. I'm Charles Pius. Good morning. They don't pay you. Eh? How many you tap? How many millions you tap? You don't need 1 million. Why you going to collect more?
Tell you.
Oh my goodness.
Tap like how many million pounds?
All the tappers in the building. What's going on, man? I heard you guys were disappointed.
After the trend now.
The hamster. But I saw some people take up to $20. Some people took up to 19, 25, you know.
$1.
Some go $1.
Some got cent. Some got cent.
I saw somebody who actually wanted to buy a vehicle. I had actually priced the vehicle and told the car dealer to stand by for 1 p.m. that day. And after 1 p.m., the car dealer, got back to the guy, and then the guy blocked him. Whatever, man. I hope you guys are good. So join us on YouTube. It's Signature TV. Let's do some morning show. It's always very good to join us when you're on the other side. So, by the way, what do you make of my reading? How do you rate it? Good, bad, poor, too fast, too slow, too sluggish, not good enough? Just let me know what you think. All right. On that comment section, I'd love to hear from you. Many thanks for being part of it. Cheers.
This bag is for this side.
Yeah. I don't know why I can't come here. No, normally that's how you do
It is Signature TV.
Good morning. Why are you always dragging this thing with me? What level of confusion is this anymore?
It's okay then. That's fine.